Hey y'all. So today we're going to talk about photosynthesis. Be quiet, Morgan. Wait. Like, comment, subscribe, turn your post notifications on so you'll be notified every time Miss William posts on YouTube channel. Okay, bye.
Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it. All right, so we're talking about photosynthesis today. We're going to lecture for about maybe 25, 30 minutes tops, so you guys keep an eye on the time. Don't let me go over that. All right? Somebody's got time for me?
Yes.
25, 30, no more than that. We don't go over that. If we could potentially go less, but we're not going over that, all right? Okay, so first things first about photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is a process that takes place inside of plants. It is the process by which plants produce their food, per se. When it comes to animals such as ourselves, we utilize the process of cellular respiration, and we create ATP. The inverse of cell respiration is photosynthesis, and in photosynthesis, plants produce what instead?
Glucose.
Glucose. Good job, Will McCarran. That is +1 test point to Will. Photosynthesis is an anabolic process, so let's make sure we understand what the word anabolic means before we start writing it down all willy-nilly on the paper. All right? The opposite of anabolic would be catabolic. You need to include both terms in your notes, both anabolic and catabolic. But photosynthesis is an anabolic process because it brings molecules together to create a new product. So essentially, it's addition. 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 + 1. It's an anabolic reaction. So in the case of photosynthesis, we bring in carbon dioxide, we bring in water, and we bring in sunlight to create something else. That's what makes it an anabolic reaction. It's endergonic because it stores energy. Where is the energy coming from that is being stored?
The sun.
The sun. Okay, that is one of the primary reactants that is required for for photosynthesis. Excuse me. All right. So let's look at the reaction itself. There's really no shortcut to the reaction. It's something that you guys are just going to have to commit to memory. All right? There's 3 reactants and 2 products. All right? But before we get into what they are, let's talk about these numbers that appear. That 6 in the front of carbon dioxide is called a what?
6 electron.
6 carbon.
It's called a coefficient. Coefficient. These small numbers are referred to as subscripts. All right? So that 6 tells us that there are 6 carbon dioxide molecules. That's what that is saying. So if I were to ask you guys, how many carbon atoms are there present? 6. How many oxygen atoms are there present?
2. 0.
12.
Oh, because you doubling.
It's 6 times 2. Okay? You would always multiply the subscript by the coefficient to calculate how many of those you actually have. So if I have 6 carbon atoms on the left side of the equation, how many do I have to have on the right side of the equation? 6. The equation has to be balanced. All right? Let's look at the water molecule. How many hydrogen atoms do I have?
6.
2. Because you got 6 coefficients on the front and 2 as the small subscript for the H. That's 6 times 2. All right. I want to make sure you guys understand that the number that is in the front signifies how many molecules are there in totality. The subscript signifies how many atoms there are individually. All right. So, once again, the reactants are carbon dioxide, water, and sunlight. If you need to write it down in your notes, that way you need to write it down that way. Reactants, there's 3. The products are glucose and oxygen. Now, between these 2 products, which one is the byproduct?
Oxygen.
Oxygen is the byproduct. Byproducts are things that are made, but it's not the primary focus. All right? Byproducts are what you don't necessarily need anymore, so you kind of get rid of it. All right? Glucose is our product. It's the primary focal thing that we wanted to make. Glucose is a what?
Sugar.
A sugar. What's the official name for sugars? Carbohydrates. What's the monomer for carbohydrates?
Monosaccharide.
Monosaccharides. What's the ratio of monosaccharides? 1, 2 to 1. 6, 12, 6. 6 being the 1. 6 times 2 is?
12.
And then you go back down to 1, which is 6. Okay, so that's the reason why it's a 1 to 1 ratio. All right. We don't need oxygen. Where does oxygen go if it's not needed?
Into
What process?
Exocytosis.
This is photosynthesis. We don't need oxygen, so where does it go next?
To the air.
To the air, to be picked up by
Human.
humans. And what process do they use oxygen in?
Cell respiration.
Cell respiration. Good job, Don. +1 test point to Don. Cell respiration. Okay. Photosynthesis and cell respiration are reciprocal processes. You guys know what reciprocal means?
Like it keeps going.
Go over and over again. So essentially, they depend upon one another. All right. All right. Any questions about this? It's important that you guys get this down. This is the foundation of what we need to learn for this chapter. We good? Okay. All right. Where does photosynthesis take place? Chloroplasts. That's one answer. +1. Where else?
Inside the plant.
Where at inside the plant?
Usually the leaves, right?
+1 classic point. All right. Is there any other name we want to throw out there for a location for photosynthesis? How about the term thylakoid?
I was trying to.
You guys heard the term thylakoid?
Yep, chapter outline.
Everybody do it like this. Do it like this. Okay. Looks like a single beef patty. That's thylakoid. All right, got it? Cool. Excellent. Okay. Plants are autotrophs, okay? Which means they process the sun's energy to create their own food source. Okay? Plants are sessile. All right? Sessile meaning they stay in one spot. They can't get up and go find food somewhere else. Okay? They can't order DoorDash. They can't get in a car and leave and go pick up Burger King. They can't do that. Okay? Where their seed settles, where they decide to grow, that's where they stay. All right? So it's a benefit to them that they're actually capable of producing their own food source via the process of absorbing the sun's energy. All right? What's the opposite of an autotroph? Heterotroph, which we are. We have to actively eat and break down food to absorb the nutrients from the food that we break down. What type of reaction is that if we're breaking things down? What's the opposite of anabolic? Catabolic. Good job, Morgan. +2 class points. Catabolic. The information compounds on itself, guys. So you have to retain and take in what you hear. Cool. Emma Joe, you good? You know what you're writing now? What are you writing now right now?
I'm writing B.
B? Mesophyll cells? What are mesophyll cells?
I don't know.
You write it down. I don't know what it is, but I'm writing it down. Alright, cool. We're gonna answer that in a second, okay? Alright. Alright. How do we breathe? What structure is located externally outside of our body that helps us to breathe? Nose and mouth. Okay, we can take in air via our nose and mouth, right? We process oxygen, right? We need it to breathe, right? What do we exhale? CO2. Okay, let me ask you this. Do plants have a nose?
No.
Do plants have a mouth?
No.
Do they breathe?
Yes.
To a degree, yeah, they do. Okay, so how does the gas get in or out of the plant? Through those pores. The name of those pores are stomata. Everybody do your hand like this. Okay, we're going to pretend like your hand is a leaf. You have the top side of the leaf, and then you have the underside of the leaf. The stomata are located on the undersides of the leaf. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Those pores open or close depending on the time of the day to let oxygen leave and to let what gas come in? Carbon dioxide. Okay. There's one other thing that exits through the pores of the stomata. Okay? So far we got carbon dioxide, we got oxygen, and then we also have H2O. Good job, Brandon. +1 test point. It is actually H2O, water vapor. Water vapor is lost through the stomata of plants. This can lead to plants drying out. Okay, especially plants that are in unseasonably warm weather. All right, when it gets too hot, too fast, and the plant's not used to it, the stomata are open at the wrong time of the day, and all of that water loss takes place. Okay? Now we're going to pause on plants for a second, and we're going to talk about us. What do we call water loss when it comes to our skin?
Action is
What do you call sweating?
Sweating.
What's the actual name for sweating? The official name?
I don't know.
Perspiration. Perspiration. Okay? Now, what do you call water loss from lakes, rivers, streams, oceans, puddles? Evaporation. Okay? When it comes to plants, we call it transpiration. Transpiration. So it's perspiration when it comes to our skin. It's evaporation when it comes to lakes, rivers, streams, puddles, tributaries. How you spell what? Perspiration. Perspiration. Okay? Nope. I'm doing a little boozy today. Okay? Transpiration. So, the reason I bring up the term transpiration is because I've had students in the past tell me, Mr. Williams, there was evaporation, there was perspiration, I've seen both of those before. Then they said something about transpiration. I don't know what that is. Transpiration wasn't the answer. But because it was one of those things where students didn't recognize it, what do you think a lot of students did? They picked it because they're like, I don't know what it is. It's probably the right answer because I don't recognize it. They love to do that to you guys with tests. Okay? For example, when it comes to photosynthesis and cell respiration, very little of this information we're covering is going to be on your GMAS. Very little of it. But you know how they put it on your GMAS? They'll toss it in a question here or there and they'll refer to it. But guess what? It has nothing to do with what they want you to answer. But because you may have not been taught it, it causes you confusion, and then you're like, I'm not sure if I got that right or not, so I'm going to pick it. I know something about plants, and now you pick something that has nothing to do with the other. Okay. So it's important that I teach it to you guys so you guys at least know what it should not be at times. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Cool. All right, let's go to Emma Jo's part. She was writing something down, but we weren't sure what it was. Mesophyll cells. The mesophyll is one of the layers within the leaf. Okay? The nucleus, chloroplast, vacuole, and cell wall. What do they all have in common? They are all what? I'm looking for a specific term. Good job, Cole. They're organelles, plus 2 classic points. They're all organelles, okay? Which are tiny structures found inside of the cell that perform a certain function. All right, you guys remember that question from your test that you just took? Good. Okay. The nucleus. Emma Jo, what's inside the nucleus? DNA. Plus 1 classic point. DNA is found inside the nucleus. All right. Cleo, what else is inside the nucleus? Makes ribosomes. Well, the nucleolus. Good job. Plus 2 classic points. The nucleolus. The chloroplast. What's the opposite of the chloroplast but found inside of animal cells? Adele. Adele. Mitochondria. Plus 1 classic point. Okay. Mitochondria makes ATP. Lego. What is the chloroplast make? Good job. Plus 1 test point. Makes glucose. Then we have the cell wall. Okay. Keen, is the cell wall living?
No.
It's not living. Why do we have it?
To protect those cells.
To protect and to also give it structure. Plus 2 classic points. Good job. And then we have this central vacuole. Ms. Urban. What does the central vacuole do?
It takes water off the cell.
It can store water. It can store salts, ions, other particles that are necessary for the cell. And when it is full, it gives the cell, or it adds to the cell's shape. A full central vacuole can also be an indicator for the health of a plant cell. Okay? Okay, plus 1 point. So this is the reason why they mentioned the mesophyll. When we did the initial PowerPoint over cell structure and function, you guys might not remember, but there was a slide that listed like 3 or 4 key organelles. And they were like the organelles that you needed to focus on. This is essentially the same thing. These are the organelles that will continuously come up when we talk about photosynthesis. Questions? How am I doing on time?
You had,
12 minutes.
well, that's until the 25.
That one. Let's
Every
go.
mark is 15 minutes.
Here we go. Good old chloroplast, because we're not talking about mitochondria. Everybody do your hands like this. Let's see that. Kind of try to make it oval.
Oh,
Try to make it oval.
I'm gonna try my hardest.
Okay. All right. So that's the shape of a chloroplast. Okay. Not to be confused with this shape. What is that?
Mitochondria.
Mitochondria. Remember, mitochondria kind of looks like a kidney bean. And it has one section of it that's kind of bowed in on one side. Right? So we got a chloroplast and we got a mitochondria. But we're talking about chloroplasts right now. There are some important structures inside of the chloroplast. We have the outer membrane, we have the inner membrane. We have the stroma, which is the equivalent to like a cytosolic fluid, that space inside. Then you have the thylakoid. Go do your fingers like this. Thylakoid. Thylakoid gang, let's go. Come on. Hold it up. Okay? We have a thylakoid. And then I want you guys to flip your fingers like this. We have a stack of thylakoids. What do we call a stack of thylakoids? Granum. Okay. So we got thylakoid, which is the individual one. Then we got a stack of thylakoids. We got granum. If you see me in the hall or you see me anywhere and I do this, and you're actually able to tell me what it is or what you should be saying, I'll give you bonus points for it. Or if you see me in the hall and you hold it up first and I say it, I'll give you bonus points for it. All right. If it's multiple of you guys in the hall, it's the first person to say it, by the way. Okay.
Say the color.
The color? Who said anything about the color?
Oh.
They're all green.
Oh, wait, this.
Granum. Got it. Plus 1 classic point. Good job.
Oh, see, I got
Or
it.
if I did this,
Stop.
I think she said it first. There you go. Plus 1 classic. Okay. All right. Let's continue. Okay, just another illustration of the thylakoid and granum. Got it? We're good? We're not good? Let me back up and make sure you're good. Bien? See?
Ain't no way you said C. What?
That's Dutch, yes.
Why are plants?
Why are plants green?
Because,
Chloroplast.
no, because Mother Nature.
That's one reason. Plus 1 classic point.
Correct me if I'm wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure when the chloroplasts do photosynthesis, there's like a certain pigment that's created.
Okay, plus 1 classic point.
It's like reflecting.
You're right. Plus 1 classic point. Todd?
The pigment chlorophyll.
The pigment chlorophyll. Plus 2 classic points. We're not done yet. Where's chlorophyll located?
And the chlorophyll.
No?
Wait, no.
Gotta be more specific.
Around the nucleus.
Huh?
Around the nucleus.
You're close. Oh. What part of the thylakoid?
The membrane.
Plus 2 test points.
Thank you.
Good job. The membrane. Well
Oh,
done.
I don't know if it's Jesus.
You say Jesus?
I said no.
Remember he said he did it for 6 days and rested on the 7th?
Alright. Chlorophyll molecules are located in the thylakoid membranes, as our very intelligent, tall friend Cole said. Okay. Chlorophyll also has a magnesium center as well, but guess what? You don't need to know about that, so we're not going to worry about that part right there. It's cool to know though. Okay. So, any structure, living or not living, that comes in contact with the sun's light will either absorb it or reflect it, or absorb some of it and reflect the rest, or reflect all of it and that's it. Okay? It depends on the structure. Okay? But we're talking about plants in this case. Okay? In order for absorption to take place, there has to be a structure or something within the materials of the particle that are capable of doing the absorption and processing said energy. We absorb some of the sun's energy, but we can't process it with the same level of efficiency that plants can. Okay? We feel warm, but other than that, I'm not getting any energy from the sun. Yeah, we do have some vitamin D production and some things to respond in the skin. There is a degree of health, but not to the same level of effectiveness that plants do it. Oh my God, I would save so much money if I could go through photosynthesis. No more DoorDash, I'll just go stand outside. Okay, it'd be pretty nice. All right?
You're gonna get black without that sunscreen.
Yep. We're recording this.
Yes,
Alright.
I know.
The one color that is not absorbed, that is just primarily reflected, is green. Case in point, while all of our plants on this planet are, I should say a majority of our plants on this planet are green. Alright? They have a lot of chlorophyll. Chlorophyll, green color, is the dominant color. Okay? It steps up to the forefront and it's like, I'm here. Okay? The rest of the colors, y'all stay back there. Okay? When does chlorophyll decide to take a back seat?
Fall.
In the fall.
Oh my goodness, come on.
+1 test point. Good job. Chlorophyll takes a back seat in the fall. When what happens?
It gets cold.
The temperature changes. So it is the temperature change that drives the color change of plants. All right. So you might be asking yourself, Mr. Williams, the plants around here don't change. It's cold outside right now.
It's not in the curve. Perfect word.
Okay. In order for our plants to really have a true response to the change in temperature, it has to be something that is part of the actual true climate, and it has to be sustainable. You guys know as well as I know, it's cold today, it'd be back in the 80s on the weekend. And the plants are like, see, this is why I didn't change color. I don't have time for that. I don't have time to be switching back and forth. Okay? It's the same way we treat hurricanes. Are you gonna leave or no, you're not? I don't know, I'm gonna wait and see. Okay? Plants do the same thing with the cold temperatures around here. Okay? Alright. You guys need to know every part of this.
You do.
I'm kidding, no you don't.
Jesus.
Man, I was about to say.
Appreciate you. Okay, let's look at the absorption spectrum. Where's the y-axis? What is the y-axis called in this? Absorption. What is the x-axis referred to as?
Green, yellow, orange.
The colors.
Wavelength.
Like, you had like a blue.
Let's play wave.
See how I went wave and I went. Grammar, +1 +1.
Yo, I'm about to just start over here just putting my hand in the air.
Okay, so of the colors that are present, which one, Bree, sit up. I ain't teaching for my help now. Is absorbed at the highest level.
Blue.
Blue. So if you really want your plants to grow, you expose them to blue light. Okay? And the intensity of the blue light as well has an effect on it. The more intense the blue light is, the more photosynthesis takes place, and the more oxygen is produced, and the more you get to breathe.
Nice.
Okay? All right. Now, if you really don't want your plant to grow or respond and produce any oxygen at any level of efficiency, what color should you expose it to?
Green.
Green. Okay. You expose it to green, and guess what? It's not producing that much oxygen. Okay. Blue and violet, and along with red. Don't ask me why it's like that. You can barely see it, but red is over here on the far right. And red, to a certain degree, it is absorbed. If you guys notice, yellow and orange are still here, and they are absorbed just a little bit. Okay? Like I said, we don't really get to see it around here, but that's the fall. Change in temperature, plants do still go through photosynthesis. Just because it's cold outside doesn't mean they stop. Alright? Now, certain trees, which are evergreens, can do it even when the temperature really drops. Okay? I don't know what that is. That's a dollar for you. Now you got it. I'll give you points next time, but you got to get that first time. Alright. Here we go to fall color. Since we already answered the question as to why, those pigments are called carotenoids. The thing I really like about this word is it sounds like carrots.
I hate carrots.
Okay? Carrots are orange. So that kind of gives you a real easy segue to remember that information. Good for you. So during the fall, the green chlorophyll pigments are greatly reduced, revealing the other pigments. So during the spring and the summer and stuff like that, those green pigments are heavily represented, and you don't even get to see the other pigments. Okay? So the other thing I want you guys to take away though is this: the other pigments are always there. They're just kind of masked. Can't see them. Okay. Good for you. Right. Redox reactions. You have heard of redox reactions before. Probably from me. What's another name for a redox reaction?
Oxidation.
No, the
Reduction oxidation reactions. Or oxidation reduction reactions. Del plus 1 class of point. Okay? What happens in an oxidation reduction reaction?
game.
What happens in an oxidation reduction reaction? Gains what? Gains an electron. Or it... Oh, I can't find it. It loses an electron. Okay. Alright. It gains an electron or it loses an electron. Is that oxidation or reduction? For me. It's reduction for you because you gained the electron. It's oxidation for me because I lost the electron. All right, give it to somebody else. Okay. Every time I say switch, we're going to pass the electron. Whoever has the electron at the end of class gets bonus points.
Okay, so I'm gonna need y'all to pass that.
Okay, so oxidation is the loss of the electron. Reduction is the gain of the electron. Pass the electron. That's what we're going to do. Every time we say the word electron, you pass it.
Electron.
Every time I say it.
Oh.
You said it though.
Electron. Okay, so the loss of electrons from a substance or the gain of oxygen is what we refer to as oxidation. Okay. Give me another 3 minutes. Okay. Take a look at the formula for photosynthesis. We have carbon dioxide. We got the water molecule. What's the one reactant that's not mentioned right now?
No, oxygen.
Which reactant is not included in this diagram? Sunlight. Good job, Dean. Sunlight. Carbon dioxide's right there. What are you talking about?
I said
Yeah,
Plus 1 class of point. So, in this case, the water molecule loses the electron. Okay? That electron is then picked up by the oxygen. Yeah. Okay? So this is what happens when you lose an electron. Alright? The gain of electrons to a substance or the loss of oxygen is what we refer to as reduction. In this case, carbon dioxide is going to go through reduction because it is going to gain or give the electron to glucose. Alright? Let's go back to this other slide real quick. I just want to show you guys something. The water molecule. Everybody's watered a plant before, right? When you water a plant, you're literally providing yourself with oxygen. It is the water molecule that is split that produces the oxygen atoms. So when you choose not to water plants, you're literally suffocating yourself. So water the plants so that they give you oxygen. And sometimes you give away electrons. Or sometimes you keep electrons. But you can sometimes also give them away.
You didn't have to say
Electrons.
Why did you have to add?
Alright? Why do I have to add electrons?
You said electrons are like, yeah, go to cost that.
Okay. Alright. Make sure there's nothing else I need to talk about with oxidation reduction, reactions, and the movement of electrons.
Oh, you said it again, cough the paper up.
Okay.
I'm just trying to get the paper back over.
I'm trying to think. What kind of time I got?
You got like at least a minute.
39 seconds.
39 seconds. What do you guys want to talk about for 39 seconds?
Let's talk about how
Electron. Pass it. Electron.
No,
I gotta say.
How about that one question slide?
You sound
Mr.
confident
Williams,
now.
what about
talk
slide
about the fact that I
19?
got a
Question.
70-yard
Say again?
Slide 19, what's the question?
It says, what do cells use for energy? And in this
Okay,
case, it'd be,
Never mind.
what's the answer for that? Glucose.
Did I just say photosynthesis?
Yeah, you did. You said photosynthesis.
Yeah.
And electrons. Time.
Yo, who got it?
Emma.
Of course.
She needs some.
Oh,
Yeah, I know.
Oh, wait.